Well, obviously, Ole Miss has played itself into position to challenge Bama for the SEC
Yeah.
West. And when I said off the top, let's not forget about Ole Miss or not forget about LSU. What I meant was, sure, they're not playing the caliber football that we would expect them to make a run to Atlanta, but mathematically speaking, hey, it's right there in front of them. They've only lost one game in the conference. We saw Bama go down this past week. So where do you think the SEC stands? I know that you're looking at the
Yeah.
entire conference, and we're coming off a weekend where you could either say this was more in Knoxville about Tennessee emerging, or was it more about Bama possibly taking a step back?
Yeah, so before the season, Mark, I picked Tennessee to win the East. I was
Nice.
really high on them. I'm a big Heupel believer. I'm a big believer in what they're building over there, and I just think they run the best offense in the SEC. I think Heupel and Lane. You can argue either one of those two is the best play caller in the SEC, and obviously, Bama's secondary isn't as good as it has been in years past, and I think Tennessee's offense. Once again, this will come off wrong for a lot of people, but they are the best non-Bama offense since 2019 LSU. I mean, they are really special, and they're doing this without Cedric Tillman. So, for me, I still think Alabama is a team in the West. I don't think Ole Miss or LSU will have enough to beat Alabama, but you do feel a little bit better now that Alabama has looked for the second year in a row mortal, if you will. You can beat Alabama, unlike what you saw with the talent that 2020 Bama had. And to me, Mark, I think Nick Saban's most talented team was actually 2019 Bama. It's just LSU had, the best college quarterback of the modern era in my mind, along with Jamar Chase. So, look, it's different. I love Tennessee. I love what they're doing. I still think Bama overall will win the West, and we will get the Tennessee and Alabama rematch. Also, I think one thing going into this next weekend's game is Ole Miss and LSU's defense is just struggling, right now. They've got to fix the explosive play issue, and if they don't, these issues are just going to keep coming back up and up and up again. So we'll see what happens.
Carter, when we get to this point in the SEC schedule, especially on the Western side, even though the East is making a play for, hey, we're getting to that point where we're just as good. You see these matchups, and you look at anybody's schedule in the West, and you just see the gauntlet start. This is about where it has begun for the rest of the season, and there's no weeks off for the most part. I also think about that not just affecting the championship race here and now, but recruiting. Just in regards to the recruiting battles, who's winning these games, how much of an impact when you look at recruiting and some of the big players in play here in the next couple of months toward National Signing Day. Do you think that these results impact?
It impacts big time. But, one thing that I find interesting, Mark, and I know you asked about like high school recruiting, but I think one thing that's happened in the SEC in particular is the transfer portal accumulation is starting to happen where, I had a tweet out, it got passed around a little bit, but I want to clarify what I meant by this. There aren't that many elite teams in college football. You know who the programs are, Mark. You cover all of them. It's Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, and then everybody else. It's Clemson, it's LSU, it's whoever you want to put in that next tier. Maybe Texas, we'll see. But what I think the transfer portal has done is the bottom is no longer as easy of a win as it used to be. These bottom teams get these scrap players that, are like third and fourth string on other teams, and they come over and they, change your program, right? Like, for instance, Arkansas's Drew Sanders is really freaking good at football, and he can go out there and win you a football game on his own. And those kinds of players weren't going to Arkansas anymore. And now, Drew Sanders is a big time player for them. And you see so many of these guys now on SEC programs that have changed their trajectories, right? And I just think that that's so big now because these bottom teams are no longer pushovers. They've got good players. It's no longer, hey, we whiffed on our 3-star guys out of high school. We can go get a 4 or 5-star guy that's disgruntled wherever they may be and, change our program around. So while they're recruiting, there's still a lot of uncommitted prospects out there. I just think now recruits are going to say, look, if I'm a USC 4 or 5-star backup, I'm like, dang, I saw Brew McCoy make that catch. I could be the next Brew McCoy at Tennessee and play in that offense. So I just think for me, these past couple of games, transfer portal's lit, baby. It's going to be fun, Mark. Let's go.
Yeah, that's a great way to spin that. I was thinking total high school recruiting on that angle, but yeah, transfer portal's humming and will not stop. There's no doubt
Never.
about that.